He's right there. Started the clock. Or started the picture show. Good?
Yep, thanks.
Okay, time being 6 o'clock, we'll call the March meeting for the Tilton Zoning Board to order. And we're going to put all our paperwork off till the end of the meeting, so we'll start right in with the first issue, so we can move along, which will be the variance application pursuant to Article 14.4.3 to allow for grading. Oh, wait a minute.
That was last month.
Yes.
Okay, you want
Think we're
that?
doing anything for grading? Yeah, that's not what we're for.
First paragraph. Oh,
That's minutes and stuff last month.
right.
Okay, let's try that again. ZBA case 15-04, a variance application pursuant to zoning Article 7 to allow for construction of a garage within the 20-foot rear setback at 9 Linden Avenue in the Village District, map U7, lot 27 and 28. First thing I'll ask is have the board members view this site, take a look at it all, and know what we're talking about. I know it's a variance, but, okay.
I've been up there in the past, but not recently.
Oh, yeah, so I could view it also. So I guess, who's going to represent this particular case?
I'm Eric Usinger.
Yes, sir.
So I'm asking for a garage.
Can we start with your name first, please?
Sure, it's Eric Usinger.
Eric Usinger, okay, thank you.
9 Linden Avenue. The current structure that sits there only sits off the back line, about 1.5 feet. The back is broke. It is something that's been there probably since original added on in 1963. That's what I'm seeing in cement carved in. What I propose, I don't know if you have the picture in front of you, but I did bring a larger one so you could see maybe a larger scale look at what I'm doing, which is keeping in with the neighborhood of Victorian style. It is 26 deep by 32 wide, which will allow 2 bays and a little side on the where the door side is for construction of interior-wise a workshop. There is going to be no plumbing to the structure. Upstairs will be strictly just storage. And then the issue lies that if I do the 20-foot setback, would push the building so far forward that one in the future I would not be able to connect it to, which would be the mudroom in the back of the house. And you can see there's a little jut in the back of the house. And also the fact that it would push so far forward that it would start to come even with the house, and also the fact that any window on that side would be then obstructed. I measured from the back. The closest building, which is a barn, is over 100 feet away from my property line, and that is really the only structure other than the Tiltons, which would actually be probably closer to maybe 200 feet, 150 feet.
Hold on a second.
Sure.
You say it's from the back of your property line?
Or I don't even know what you would really consider the back of the
this
front.
being your lot, and this is the proposed building, right?
Correct. So this is what I'm talking about here. This is 12, and this is what I proposed, with 10 feet between, so eventually at one point in time, a little like mudroom / corridor would be connecting the 2 structures.
Okay, I think it's at 100 feet from the back. You're just talking about, what is going to be the distance here from the back property line?
5. And what I'm saying, from my back property line, running up the property line up here, is a barn that is 100+ feet. What I'm saying is it's not encroaching on anyone else's structure, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
How far is the back of the house from the property line?
12 feet.
Okay.
This part of the house. you're talking
Yeah,
about.
it's a little mudroom currently, which is 12 feet from here to here. When Mr. Davis had his lot readjusted, surveyor came in and adjusted this whole line, meaning he's resurveyed it. So I have the pins with the markers still left on them, so I was able to get an accurate measure off the pin.
Okay, and what is going to be the distance between the new structure and the property line on the north side?
There wouldn't be any really, but this property line has been dissolved, and I had in fact already applied and pay for a lot merger on the interior.
You own lot 27 as well?
Yes, I do. 26 and, 28, 27.
So in essence, this property line is going to
It is gone.
go away.
Yes,
So then you're really not encroaching on your property line, really.
correct. It's just gonna be one large lot.
And you've already applied to do this? Or
Yes. Yeah.
Do you have the paperwork on this?
The lot merger?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's the status?
May I answer?
I'll open it to the
yes.
public in a little bit,
Okay.
unless you're
Okay.
related
I'm
to.
gonna, no, I'm gonna butter them.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
good.
we'll open it up to all interested
What's the
parties.
status of it?
The image that they're looking at is this right here. It's smaller. Yeah, that's at the Belknap County Registry, so the lot merger
That's
is essentially
complete?
done, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So we're really not concerned about that aspect of it. So all we're really talking about is within 5 feet of the back property
Correct.
line, which the, I believe in your paperwork, you mentioned there's a structure there now.
There's a structure there currently now
How
that has
close?
been a foot and a half.
That's
I mean, it's on the
what
line. And so what I proposed actually is to
Okay, yeah.
move it back, so there would be, some room, so hopefully, in the future, there would be no issue about where the line is, and the structure would never actually encroach upon it.
How big is that current structure?
It is currently, I would say probably a 20, maybe 20 by 20, it's almost a square. It's a pretty large structure as far as what's there, it's basically almost 2 bays. Without, obviously this is larger, it's wider, so I'd have more storage interior wise.
And why can't the back of the garage be parallel to the back of the house?
Because of the stairs that are gonna go upstairs to it would actually, I think, would involve a conflict, that it wouldn't match up correctly. That by the time, the entranceway that I want it to connect to is actually in the front. In the back is washing and dryers, that it needs to connect here, and the stairs come up. So if I push it forward, I think the stairs, and where you would actually go, you would do some sort of ducking. Whereas now, if I push it forward to where I, push it back, the stairs would croak back, go upstairs, and the landing that would bring you into the house would also be the landing that would go up the stairs.
Hi, Alan. Hey, nice to meet you.
We drove 150 miles, I left at 3 o'clock.
Where'd you come from?
Well,
Where's the kitchen going?
2 year old son.
The kitchen, the in-law apartment? No.
Let's face it, it's as big as a small.
It is upstairs, but currently, if you know that area up there, because of the way the water level is, my basement pretty much has a river that runs through
Sure,
it.
absolutely.
There is no storage in the basement. And so this would offer a dry storage and essentially, parking essentially. but we have no place to put
So,
any paper. Anything made of paper would instantly
I
move
don't know what the town
downstairs.
Tilton has for
And that
regulations.
this would provide dry storage,
That's all I was asking for.
and so the upstairs would never, at this point, in time,
okay,
I have
I don't know what they have.
no intention of running any plumbing there at all.
I assume you're gonna heat it some form.
I don't know yet, at this point. I mean, I could do that and put in some sort of,
That
electric heating baseboard or
them
some
on the
sort of
property after March 1st.
monitor system, because
Say
if
they'll
we
be
had
out of
like
there by
that.
July 15th.
You don't have
They're
any
always out of
intention
there by
of creating
August 1st,
a
you know, when I'm
apartment?
getting
No, I
the
don't.
dogs in, that's the
Structure.
problem. They order them in
That
August.
would be, I assume, a condition of anything that.
I'm not even gonna plumb
They
it.
come in June. Since I've had some, they call
Because
it
that's
in
basically
December.
to see that you
to say
could
they
create
want
an
not.
apartment if you
Can't
wanted to.
So, you know, I mean, I'm gonna get them out as soon as I
Well,
can.
I myself,
August 1st. But, you know, I might have to take a container in June, I have to take it in February.
Well, those are things that we could probably discuss.
Board have any
The
questions?
state of New Hampshire is running into
Not
it.
right now.
And one thing that I want to
Board
add
have any
here
conflicts in
is
this?
that when the fireworks store went in, there was really no discussion about storage outside of the building.
Right.
And now if you go to places, you'll see these trailers that have become permanent structures
Yep.
that are filled with product all the time.
Mhm. Okay, let's go.
Is there gonna be a driveway paved?
eventually I would like to, right now it's dirt, and eventually,
From,
when money's,
six.
yes, I would like to pave it, and I would like to widen it. Right now, it's a single lane, so if anyone parks there, you can't get out. So it would be nice to do a double, and I, that'd be just another day.
So there'd be no
But currently, my thoughts right now is just that structure, storage upstairs, again, no plumbing run to it, obviously electricity.
now.
It'll be on slab, and then not now, maybe in a year or two, come,
I know about it.
get a building
Well, I
permit
have a
to connect it.
business in Seabrook.
But right now, this summer,
I own
just the
my
structure,
aunt
not,
died, left me
no,
my sister.
no.
I don't know nothing, she's racist. She's my young sister,
Any questions?
I have 12 trailers down there, my grandfather.
Any questions at all?
And, yeah, my
I'll
niece.
see no further questions from the board. I'll open it up to the public at this time.
I don't know what she.
Make any comments, please identify you by name, and then
I talked to Chris Wyman years about
address
this.
all
In the
questions
town
from
of
the board,
Seabrook.
if you would, please.
That's originally where I was buying cases.
Elaine DeRito,
to-
my husband and I own the property at 12.
It turns out that it's moldy in there, so I'm gonna clean it anyway.
I don't have the addresses here.
Now they found out
Where
that
would you be in
no
relation to
boxes
this
in there,
property?
and I wish I could go back to rentals.
North.
And I might.
Above the lot
Above.
27?
Definitely
Actually,
will not
next
have
to the lot.
containers.
It would be 27, during the Princess old times.
August 1st.
That doesn't know.
Okay.
They're at the top of the hill, Joe, the dead end.
Oh, way up
At the
top of the hill?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
the ranch at the top.
see, that's where it would
Yeah.
have
Sorry.
Okay, you said-
So when I received
We want to know that,
the
so
notice
we can
of,
plan accordingly,
Mhm.
so we know
I
2
wondered
years
if it
down the
had
road
to
that
do
we're not
with
gonna have
the-
15 trailers, we're not gonna have 20
property
trailers.
that-
This is what the agreement
structure that was
has been,
built
this is what
last
we're
summer,
going to enforce, and this is what we
right,
have to
which
do.
was right next to
I
our
know for a
garage on
fact
that
if I
rear
did the
lot.
Site plans,
And so I thought that's why we were
don't file
being
them
asked
in there
for.
and build trailers.
But it's not.
It's not, it's not, it's
Listed on
an
that site
entirely
plan,
different
that would
project.
have been a concern of mine.
But you still consider it a butter.
So that's kind of.
Right, I see.
Feelings or
No,
thoughts
this-
relative to the
this is
proposal?
On the other side
There's nothing
from
in
us,
writing,
so
nothing that's actually.
this is
No,
so-
I want to make sure that we don't get into a situation where.
There really isn't any issue.
Oh, yeah,
for us.
okay, I think 4 is the
Okay,
number.
thanks for coming down. I
Okay.
just make sure it was 12.
But I think we do
That's right,
have to-
yeah. But I just didn't know if
Then
we
I'm
was
like Chris
gonna
Wyman
be.
saying, okay, I need a 30-day notice. Well, what that says to me.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hey,
Thanks for coming.
It's gotta be unloaded within 3 working days for $500 a day. Well, this is how they play. Oh, yeah. I can't see it. I don't know if it's coming.
Mr. Davis, you're next.
Yes, Scott Davis, Tilton. I'm at 5 Linden Ave, right below this piece of property. And I know you'll be aware of this, Joe, because you were the building inspector back in 1995 when I came in for a variance to build my garage because of the setback. Those lots are very short, or I don't know how you'd say, they're not deep, I guess is what I should say. And I had a corner that was, since it's been adjusted because Billy Lawrence behind me, we've swapped land and had it resurveyed and squared up the lots. They're kind of, some of the lots are odd shapes up there. Eric's is not, now that he's adding the lot above him. So I'm in total favor of this. I mean, the building he has there, if he doesn't do something, he's gonna lose it, it's gonna fall in. He's not gonna have storage. I mean, they're old buildings, and that was more of a shed. I think it was a, same as I had, was a single-car garage, and they've added on to it over the time. In the back of that lot, I don't see where it would affect the butters from the rear at all. I mean, if anything, it's gonna make it their property look more appealing when you've got a nicer looking building as opposed to a shed that has some issues. So I'm 100% in favor of this. One thing I will mention, the only lots up in our area, and Eric brought this up, the only lots that have been ever surveyed in our area is mine and Billy's, if you look at the map. And matter of fact, my lot size, after it was surveyed, went from 0.315 down to 0.275 because of the adjustments. So when he says he does not quite know where that back lot line is, he'd have to go off the line that they ran, the surveyors ran when they did my back line, now be his back. So he has a better idea of where the back of his lot is now than I would have at the time when I had my variance, Joe, back in 1995.
Okay, so in other words, your lot shrunk.
My lot
after
shrunk.
realignment. So
Yeah.
which part of your structure you're gonna remove?
I can't remove any. But now I don't need the variance because I have the setbacks. I have the land in the back. But I did want to know, how do I apply for a rebate from the town for the taxes on the land that I paid over the years when I did not have the size?
Oh, I certainly think you find a good attorney to deal with this.
I figured you being in the land, you could assist me on that.
Meaning until my end.
I mean, you were the building inspector, and now you're in here.
I'm afraid that you might just consider that having walked under the bridge.
I speak in favor of this. I think it's gonna be an asset to the community, to the neighborhood especially. It's a plus all the way around. There's
Yeah,
no
I think
question about that.
any new structures generally that replace the older garages and stuff like that.
And I think in the future, like Eric said, Joe, when he can widen his driveway, that'll assist also the town highway department, which has to turn around because they're not able to go through the Prince's. They've stopped them years ago. Larry Prince had his sewer main that runs, and when Doc Quain had that house put up there, when he put all the fill in, the sewer main's about 14 feet down in the ground. It's unbelievable the amount of fill they brought in, and he always had a problem when they used to go through his yard with the plow truck, back when Dave Wadley was the road agent. They'd go through his yard, and he blamed the truck going through his yard, which is what caved in his sewer line. And I think it's because it's so deep, so at that time, when he had the problem, he stopped the town from being able to go through the yard, and he put it, no throughway. So the highway department, sometimes when they go up, depending on the snowstorm, they use Eric's yard to back in to come back down. So it'll be a plus if and when Eric does widen that, even for the highway department, to be able to turn around to the top of the hill. So,
Great
Highway
input,
department
thanks,
would be
Phil.
grateful.
yes, yeah. But I mean, it'll be benefit for the town also with that. So,
Is there
that's
any-
all I had to say.
Do you have any kind of screening on that back lot line and all?
Do I have any, like, fencing? No, there's no fencing in the back.
Vegetation, wide open to the next lot behind
It is. There's, some trees and, lower, saplings. But other than that,
I only had containers out there for 2 nights.
It's typical, Bob, with the,
Load 1,000 cases.
people would rake or mow to a line, and then there's some big pine trees, and then you've got the adjacent trees that go along with the pines that basically separate the lots between Bob Laraway's and Mrs. Tilton's up
Yeah,
above.
natural.
Yeah,
Okay, so you know what I need, so we're all set.
you're welcome.
Any further comments? None? Okay, I'll close it to the public then, bring it back to the board. And, well, before we, let's go over to the variance items that's presented in this variance as far as what the applicant has submitted. The first item is granting the variance would not be contrary to the public interest because, and these would be his responses. Currently a very old 20 by 16 shed that is an eyesore, sits in the position that I would like to put, and I would like to put in a new Victorian style garage that is in keeping with the design of the neighborhood. And I feel other properties would benefit. I would tend to agree with that. Number two, if the variance were granted, the spirit of the ordinance would be observed because the shed is there, that is there now, only sits 18 inches off the property line. I am asking to actually move further away from the property line to have more of a setback from the property line to reduce confusion of the line. Number three, granting the variance would do substantial justice because if one were to have to push the garage forward to be within the setbacks, the building will not line up correctly with the house and will not allow in the future the possibility of connecting the two. Keeping the style of the area, the garages, barns are always set back a good distance from the front of the main house. Number four, if the variance were granted, the values of the surrounding properties would not be diminished because I would like to emphasize again the current structure as it sits is pretty much on the property line and in a state of diminishing health. The garage proposes a quality design within and is in keeping with the area. And then we come to the unnecessary hardship. Owing to the special condition of the property that distinguish it from other properties in the area, denial of the variance would result in an unnecessary hardship because no fair and substantial relationship exists between the general public purposes of the ordinance provision and the specific application of that provision to the property line because the closest neighbor's building is over 100 feet from the back lot, from the back of my lot. Line in, all of a sudden the print gets smaller.
Yeah.
That is shared from another back lot line. I am not encroaching a building or street. I live on the end of a dead-end street within the village district, which is a tight area to begin with. That's very true. Impact to the general public, to what I wish to propose, I feel is non-existent. Tend to agree with that. And the proposed use is a reasonable one because noting properties in my area, I have already noted that a lot of structures are either on the line or within feet of it. What I am asking seems to have been granted several times over in my abutters cases. I'm also moving further away from the line to allow more open space around the back of the building than the current situation allows. And that might be as necessary here. It seemed like everything has been reasonably addressed. So at that point, I'll bring it back to the board, and where do we want to go with it?
Everything looks good to me. George, do you have any issues?
No, I don't- I'm sorry? The only thing is, I know I won't raise that question, but I believe in that zone, you could have a, so I mean, I don't think we can basically put that kind of a condition on it. There's nothing else you can create an in-law apartment in there to be perfectly within the ordinance. So that being said, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to accept case number 15-04 for a variance.
You mean approve it or accept it?
Approve it.
You want to approve it?
Did I say accept? Yeah, I'll approve. And they don't really have any conditions to attach to it, so the way it is.
Okay, so the motion is to,
So it's just a-
for approval of the variance. I hear a second. Okay, we have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? It's all yours, sir.
Fantastic, thank you very much.
It will be up by June, right?
Say that again?
It will be up by June?
Absolutely, yeah, sure. I don't even get out of school by then. There is a record of this
year
here,
you may not
Good
get
luck.
and I will leave it here.
I don't think that's necessary, the residential.
Okay.
Really. It doesn't, the assessor will be out there, I'm sure,
Oh, sure.
when you.
So right now, you got the ones that ring it.
See,
That's the
person-
record they want.
When I worked here, we got buried with paperwork that we would probably never open again, and trying to avoid that as much as possible. Okay, thanks for coming. Good luck with the project.
Have a good night, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, thank you.
If you want that.
Oh, I'll answer your question.
So you can work with him on permitting.
Okay.
Building permit.
Thank you again. Thank you very much.
All right.
Now, Time being 6:30, we'll move into the second case. ZBA case 15-05, special exception application pursuant to zoning article 6, 1E1E, to allow for placement of up to 8 storage trailers at 47 Tilton Road in the regional commercial district. Map R23, lot 25. Okay, let's go to address that issue. No, who's going to speak to this particular item?
I've had conversation with the fire captain here. We've agreed, well, hopefully,
No, why?
we've agreed. I'm gonna be asking for 4 containers for a period of no later than August 1st and no earlier than January 1st, as I have no control over when my containers from China come in. This year they came in first week of March, started, and I've gotten 3 out of 4 in already. Last year they came in May, and the containers were out of there by the end of July. So I need temporary storage, containers rented from Tilton Trailer.
Are you Mr. Obey?
Yes.
Thank you.
You mentioned, Ham, we've already discussed this with the fire department, and the letter that we have, it goes over a number of other issues here also. Okay, and I think for the board's edification, we need to know kind of where those stand relative to the whole proposal. Now, Tim,
Yes,
right?
correct.
Let it be known here for the meeting that Tim Jobert was obviously part of this whole thing in the discussion. And so I'll include him in my addressing Mr. Obeya, okay? Now, when you wrote up this letter, you asked about the temporary, and that's gonna be for that, what was that period of time again? Can you just make notes here?
No earlier than August 1st, you said?
Well, no later than August 1st and no earlier than, say, February 1st, because
No later than August
You mean they're gonna be
February
there from
1st
February
to August 1st.
They're gonna be there from February to
No,
August?
I want permission to put them there. They're gonna be there. To understand my business, I import direct from China. Really don't know when they're gonna be made and when they're gonna be shipped. All of a sudden, a boat will call me, the trucking company will call me and say, hey, there's a container at the dock. You gotta get it out of there within 3 days, or it's a $500 per day fine. So I just call Tilton Trailer, get 2 boxes delivered, empty a container into those boxes, and then I start bringing it into the building. I can only bring in about half of what I import into the building, so I need the other half is out there waiting for the week of the 4th of July, when I sell, 3/4 of the product is gone by July 5th, and I can comfortably bring everything else into the building, what I need for August and the fall.
Let's go over those dates again, I'm still confused. What's the period again?
I need containers from, we were starting on February 1st, and they'll be out of there by July 31st.
Physically, they'll be off the site, you mean?
Off the site, yeah.
So we're talking February 1st through
August 1st.
August 1st to
Yeah.
31st?
July 31st, August 1st, yeah.
Oh, okay, right on that.
Are we talking,
So February through
Sure.
August.
are we talking trailers or Connex containers?
No, right now, it's a lot easier for me to have the trailers on wheels. Because the trailer I get imported is on wheels, and just a straight walk. Other than that, I have to be lowering the boxes, 1,200 boxes of fireworks on each container. To lower them 4 feet, it's quite a task to unload a container.
So we're actually talking truck trailers here, not storage containers like Tilton has, right? Is that correct?
Well, they have both.
Well, but you're gonna have them on wheels, so it's really like the back end of a semi.
What I need to do is to, the winter, spring, I can't go down into the dirt, there's snow there and it's all muddy. When the ground firms, I want to move those to the dirt area. If you recall, 10 years ago, there's provisions for another building which we never built, and that's where I put the trailers. And when you open the door, you're almost at ground level, you're only a foot off the ground instead of 4 feet. So it's very easy to access those trailers in that area. But I need them for 6 months,
Okay.
and 4 of them,
I see where you're going. And
Yeah.
now we are talking 4 units. I have a question for Tim.
Yes.
One thing that kind of troubles me a little bit when we have multiple units there is, if we were to have a fire in one of those, how difficult is it to put that kind of a fire out?
That's a great question. It would be a task for us. You have half of the product that are in those trailers is the same inside the building, correct? Like pretty much, right? Like the amount and quantities. That building is designed for that fire load. It has a huge suppression system in it, but which is great. But those
Fire suppression in the main building?
in the main building, yes, there's a great suppression system. It's designed specifically for that type of occupancy. But now you have trailers that are in the parking lot that have no protection. So a little bit different type of occupancy. If there was a fire in one of those containers, it would be a pretty big ordeal for us to handle that. One, you're talking about a major corridor at exit 20. 2, there's not a fire hydrant right there. So to access water, it's almost about closing 140 down and taking water across the street unless we come all the way from McDonald's. So operationally, it would be a challenge for us.
What about the
buildings near there, there's a restaurant.
There are, and there's certain setback requirements, which I believe Mr. Obie meets. One of them obviously is the gas plant. And I believe it's 300 feet, which he's more than far enough away from. But those are the type of concerns that we think about.
Okay, what is the potential for explosion other than just burning?
Inside the trailer?
Yeah.
Well, I would say there's potential for that. You're taking a highly combustible, flammable product, pretty much black powder, and it's ignited and it's going to go off. So if it's contained, that pressure has to be released.
Yeah, I guess the picture in my mind here is, especially in the summer heat, for example, if something were to ignite internally in there, the fire department shows up and it's closed up. So how do you get water into it to extinguish it?
It would probably find a way open. It would probably, the doors would probably come open just from the sheer pressure of the explosions.
That's if it were an explosion.
Correct, or the fire itself. I mean, there's different ways that we can access it. Certain trailers have different connections. There's a million different ways that we could approach it to put the fire out. It is tricky though, there's no doubt about it.
Can I say something that I heard down at the State House years ago when we were getting this firework law adopted? And there was a lawyer, he said this phrase, and I'd never heard it before. He said, the Class B fireworks, which are now considered 1.3, which I do not have, that's the stuff that's up over the town, that'll put a hole in the ground when you ignite it. If you ignite a whole bunch of that right on the ground, that'll put a hole. The stuff that I have will just burn. It's almost, he said it could not explode as a chain reaction together. He said it would just burn.
Those trailers ventilated at all?
No.
Yeah, I've been in the containers in the summer, the place where I used to work, and it's brutal in there.
But can I say, you gotta get up over 500 degrees to ignite fireworks. These cannot ignite by the inside of a box trailer. What are you talking, 100 I don't think you can get up to 150. You certainly can't get up near 500 because that would be on fire. That's what it
Yeah,
takes
I
to
would think, yeah.
ignite this stuff.
That's true.
It's in cardboard, it's sealed, it's locked up. Other than an act of terrorism where somebody comes in and does their worst to get things going, I don't see how anything could happen.
And how are they secured?
With a lock.
Just a lock?
Yeah.
There's no fence around it or anything like that?
No. I've never had a problem. I have storage in
It's
another
pretty-
place.
I know, but I'm thinking crime too,
Yeah, well, that's what I was
Crime
thinking. More
Never had a problem.
Vandalism than terrorism, I would
Not
guess.
yet.
is more like-
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Fences are gonna keep anybody out.
Neither are locks.
because they're easily accessed,
We
I was
we have
thinking
thick
more of the
locks.
ones with
They're
the
as thick as
barbed
this.
wire around the top.
Why is it that you've never built a warehouse with climate control or any of that?
Yeah, suppression.
It's money. That right now, with the suppression system, I'd have to put in there, the one I have was 6 figures, the one in the building, and to do this storage, it cost me about $2,000 to $3,000 a year to rent these boxes and give them back. To build a building, it would put me out of business. There's just not enough profit money over there to do all that stuff. And frankly, if I built a storage building, I believe there's 28 licensees in the state, at least there were a few years ago. Nobody has any type of a storage building. A lot of people use these containers, a lot more than me. Phantom Fireworks and Seabrooks, the largest retailer in the state. And I know they used to be about 30 times more retail than I was over here. I don't know what they are now. I know their business has slowed down. as other states like Maine have fireworks, they have trailer situations over there now too. So I don't know of any warehouse that's strictly for storage, and everybody chooses trailers. Yeah, never had a problem.
I don't think we have, what size were these units we're talking about?
They're generally 40 feet, 45 feet.
40 foot? Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
oh, off the road, when a trailer gets, about 20 years, it starts to, the rivets start to come loose. Those are the trailers I'm talking about.
That's plenty of ventilation then.
Oh, I'm sure there's ventilation. I just, there's no real vent intentionally put in there.
They're roughly 40 footers is what we're talking about.
40, 45, 48, when I call for a trailer, they give me what's available. So it's a retired, over-the-road trailer. I will say one more thing. I started doing this in 1989 down in Seabrook. And in 1990, there was a employee at my brother's place. I didn't have my own store. And he was smoking something illegal in a trailer. And he started a fire in a trailer. And I saw my brother just go right down with a fire extinguisher and put it out. And it was, fire department came, you can look up, you can get a report from the town of Seabrook. It was the winter of either 90, 91, 92, in that area. And they came and it was all done by the time they got there. So you have to intentionally set this stuff to have a problem, based on what I have seen. And even if you have somebody in there, and they were making stuff on the property, and down in Seabrook, there's nothing made. So it was a different operation, but I saw my brother just take the foam extinguisher and put it right out.
I bet he was spraying all the time.
Oh, it was a shakeup, and pretty soon there were 2 or 3 fire trucks in the yard, but by the time they got there, everything was done.
I'll be honest, one of the things that concerns me in addition to how significant it would be to put it out is the fact that vandalism and what that could possibly do. Do you have any cameras on the area? Anything,
Yeah.
So that you can easily see what goes
Yes.
down, and that would be something I feel.
Never had a problem with vandalism. And I do have cameras over there.
Will be at least 1 or 2 cameras pointed in the direction of the trailers?
Oh, yeah, if somebody was out there stealing or doing something, we could get them on film.
If they were crispy critters, it wouldn't make any difference.
But, I understand you're thinking of fireworks and you're thinking of this big monstrous explosion. I'm just trying to tell you, that's not the fireworks that I have.
No,
It's mostly cardboard.
I understand what
Yep.
you're saying, and I can accept where you're going with it. I mean, Tim is here to verify what you're
Right.
saying, and I definitely defer to his,
If you take these things apart, there's something the size of a gumball in there.
but I just, I feel we have to look at these other issues,
That's fine.
and at least discuss them so we know what to expect. And the fact that there's cameras there, that would dissuade, I think, people from wanting to fool around with them anyway.
I mean, I could put a sign up saying this, you're being watched.
Uh,
I think I will do that.
Sure, I have a couple of guard dogs.
That'll
No,
probably
no,
create
no.
more problem than
Yeah,
we'll ever have.
No, but that would help, I think, as long as they know they're gonna, whatever's gonna take place there is on film, so
Yeah.
they can worry about that aspect of it. Oh. Now, the other thing that Tim brought up was the site plan submitted to the town. Were you planning on doing that? Because now you're altering the site, you're using the site, so a site plan should be submitted. Okay?
Get a site plan.
Yeah, I think that's something that you should do, because anytime somebody's gonna use the site, you're gonna be using it that way for 6 or 8 months out of the year. And,
Yeah, it's not just 1 year.
right, it's gonna be continuous. That should be part of the site plan, so that if anybody wants to address the issue in the future, that it's not just something that we give carte blanche acceptance for.
Okay.
So, leave it at that, that we'll plan on the fact that a site plan would be done in front of the planning board. Okay? Keep that as a factor. For Do you have anything else you want to add, Tim?
No, Dari brought this to my attention, and thank you, Dari, and I've had the chance to talk to Mr. Obie. One of the things that I talked to Mr. Obie about is when the fireworks of Tilton was constructed, plans were submitted. Those plans didn't contain the trailers. And it's been like that throughout the state of New Hampshire. So when we're doing our site plans, we're doing our plans review, we're looking at all these things, and we're looking to make sure everything is okay. But they weren't there, that wasn't part of it. So I'm just curious what has changed. And that's why I kind of put this letter together, because what we're finding in the state now in a lot of areas are these containers becoming permanent structures on these properties. So you might have 5, you might have 6, you might have 10. And now you're having actually more product inside these containers than you do in the protected facility.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, the public are not going into those containers, it is just employees. Nonetheless, you still have that product in those containers. So I just wanted to make sure that as, you know, the fire department in the town of Tilton, that there is a plan that's set that states, hey, this is what we're going to agree upon. So 2, 3, 5, 15 years down the road, nothing changes unless it's agreed upon.
You set an arbitrary, limit of 4 average size containers. Was there a specific reason for that, Tim?
They come in all different sizes. I wasn't really sure the type of container or style that he was looking for. So I know what Mr. Obie has now.
He's got 4 out there now.
Which is, and it's, I don't even know how long it's been like that for, but it's,
First of March, maybe.
I mean, how
March.
many years have you been?
Right along.
Yeah.
When I built it, I honestly didn't know what to expect. I have a loading dock back there, which I found out is not really functional for what I need, and I would have to get people come here in 1 week and expect their fireworks. So I'm getting them in and I'm holding them for 3 months, and then in 1 week they're all gone. It wasn't like that when I first started in this business. It was continuous flow throughout the month. And I just realized this is, I gotta have this stuff or I'm gonna run out and I'm not gonna be able to pay the bills. And just economically not gonna survive. Unless I have, they're gonna come, they're gonna want 3,000 cases of fireworks in 10 days. Whew, that's 75% of my year.
You're talking about multiple individuals wanting, there's not.
Oh, the parking lot is full for every moment for 3 days, 3 or 4 days, and that's when it all leaves.
Wow.
Goes out, gets blown up. Extremely few injuries. I know we had one 2 years ago here in Tilton. I've never heard any repercussions about that. That guy got hit with something in the face, and it's never been brought to my attention again. I've never had an injury problem in all my years down in Seabrook.
There'll always be those kind of incidents happen, no matter where you
Well,
go.
I have no idea how it happened, but in order to get hit in the face, you gotta be over the top of it, so.
Right.
Those 4 containers that you have out there are sufficient for your surplus?
Well, I asked for 8, but there is a way I can work with 4. The captain here is pretty adamant about 4 is as generous as he's gonna get, and I'm not gonna ask you for 5. If he's telling me he's comfortable with 4, as comfortable as he's ever gonna be, I'm only gonna ask for 4.
Gonna stay on his good side too.
Well,
But it's been operating this way for 10 years. Really, already. We're just making sure that we put this in writing.
Okay.
what I would have to do, as I explained to him already, is, I normally have Tilton Trailer come in and reposition the trailers to put them down low on the dirt when the ground firms. They don't wanna move a trailer that's too full. The reason I had 8 of them is because they were all 1/3 full. They're very light in there to move around. Now they're gonna be somewhat full when I ask them to move them, say like the 1st of May. So the only thing I was thinking of is I'll have 2 empty ones put down where I want the trailers to finally rest until, from say May 1st to August 1st. Have them back 2 of the trailers up, go in there, unload them, you know, team of guys that I can rely on, and that we unload them into the trailer, and then they take the empty one away the following day or the day after.
How many 1,000 pounds fit in one of those trailers?
Well, you know, a truck with a tractor trailer is, for, generally speaking, 80,000 pounds.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
But what about the net weight?
I think in the product in the tractor trailer over the road, you got about 50, because I
50,000?
think the rig weighs 30. Coincidentally, that was my business before fireworks. I don't know why.
They're pretty light. I don't think there's a lot of weight to.
Well, the tractor I'm talking about for 80,000, so
Oh,
I'm just
yes, sure.
subtracting everything. You know, you have the metal ribs down below, and you have a solid floor.
Oh, I'm not going,
Yeah.
I'm just curious of what kind of weight would be in one of them.
I saw one tip over last year, and the thing held together. We unloaded it from a diagonal position into another one that was there, and no damage to the trailer whatsoever.
I'm not going there.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, the weight of the product, that was all I was going.
Well, a case of fireworks is about 40 pounds. Can comfortably fit 500-600 cases in there. So you're talking 20 to 25,000
20 to 30,000, okay.
in there, yeah.
Okay, that answers my question.
See, the thing is that I have to have an aisle 28 inches wide to be legal in those trailers. So I only get, 2.5 feet on each side, say, which is enough for one box and racked right up to the ceiling.
Okay. Okay, well, we've kind of discussed pretty much all the aspects of the, that Tim has raised here. Does the board have any questions further for the applicants? And I guess at this time, we'll open it up to the public. I see there are some other people in here. Anybody want to speak to it? You're part of it, so I know, I remember your face. So I guess,
I'm fine with it too.
I'm sorry?
I worked there.
You worked it too? Oh, okay, well then, obviously, we don't have any outside parties involved, so.
Oh, we do.
Okay.
Belknap Subaru, but we don't have any issue with this.
Well, okay, well, there you go, that's, I assumed you were part
apologize.
of it. Do you have
I'm
anything?
Scott Ives, I'm Belknap Subaru. We don't have an issue as long as the town doesn't.
You have no issues
No.
with this at all?
They
Okay.
do a good business down there, they keep the company cars going by, so.
Okay. Very good, that being said, then I'll close it to the public, bring it back to the board, and pose the question. This is a special exception. So by all rights, we should at least cover the issues.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ed.
Oh, thank you. Pleasure meeting the board.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
11.4.5 is an issue that we have to consider.
Okay. Okay, well, it's also 11.4.2, but it seems
Oh, yeah,
like,
it's
it
like-
seems like an appropriate location.
Yeah.
There's no residents or anything in that area.
Yeah, I can live with that too.
No evidence of property value would be affected. I don't think that would be bearing on, it's not commercial use. Doesn't seem to bother Walmart to have a lot of containers at times. And nobody has a problem with that. There doesn't seem to be any valid objection from any abutters here, so we're good there. As far as the nuisance and hazard involved, there is hazards involved, but they have been addressed, and I think we're fairly comfortable with the information we've covered, unless someone has something else they want to raise. Adequate and appropriate facilities, well, that speaks for itself. 0.7 is no issue. Anything else in there? Okay, 11.5, in acting on these exceptions, the board shall take into account the general purpose and intent of the ordinance to preserve community values and may impose conditions or safeguards in addition to those specified in this ordinance if the occurrence of certain characteristics of the use of the site warrants such. And I think we've talked about a couple that we're going to be considering. Okay, you understand that if you should choose not to do this for 1 year, that the special exception would expire. So as long as you're doing it continuously and maintaining it, that it would be a valid award, okay? Location and size of the use, the nature and intensity of the operations involved, the size of the site in relation to the proposed use, and the location of the site with respect to the existing or future streets giving access to it, shall be such that it will be in harmony with the orderly development of the district. And we'll see an issue here. Nature, height of buildings, walls, fences, will not, nothing there, and it doesn't seem to be a problem in that area. Setbacks are not an issue. I say that only due to my knowledge of the site. Okay, there will be limitations on the number of trailers and the method of time of operation that they will be there. Regulation of number. So I guess unless anybody sees anything on there that they want to speak to further,
The only thing I have to resolve in my own mind is the number of containers that should be on a site at any maximum number at any given time. I don't know if we ever concluded that or not.
well, I thought we would kind of defer to the fact that 4 would have been that which the fire department
More?
Yeah.
is considered reasonable. And
Are
that
we
would,
still
that,
gonna require that this actually does go for a site plan?
that it should be, it should be a site plan, because it's gonna be a continuing thing. I'm really surprised that it hadn't come up before. I haven't been involved with it, so it wouldn't have been something that I would have necessarily picked up on. However, now that it is before us, we should do the proper thing and address it as far as. So I'm afraid you're gonna have to go through this again with the planning board. Okay, and hopefully you'll have the minutes of this meeting that they can read over too and shorten any stuff that the planning board wants to cover. Which I can't imagine covering anything more than what we've already done. So that being said, I'll defer to my vice chairman here to see what he can't come up with. Do you have anything further you want to bring up, Tim?
No, thank you for including me on this, some good information that we were able to identify, so.
Thanks for your input, great, greatly appreciated.
Certainly appreciate your attending the meeting, and in the past, I mean, we've had letters from fire departments, but then we've kind of been left on our own to get involved with things that we would have loved to have been able to ask them at the meeting and couldn't. So this proves very well. We thank you for coming and getting the input right from the horse's mouth.
Who's, may I ask, who informs the New Hampshire State Fire Marshal of our decision? Would that be the fire department, your,
I can be in
folks?
communication with the
Or
state
do we
fire
do
marshal's
that?
office, and they, obviously with his licensing, they communicate with them on a regular basis.
Okay, thank you. So I don't need to, if we approve this, I don't need to include that as a condition, or anything. It'll automatically be taken care of.
I have a question. Does the state ever come down and inspect?
Yeah. The state, yeah, I get inspected multiple times a year.
Oh, they do?
Yep.
Oh, I'm just curious. As to-
Every time I am up for a license, my license expires on July 6th. And I have to apply for it 30 days in advance. So they always come on, the afternoon of July 3rd, like I have nothing better to do.
Call it impromptu inspection, right?
They're actually pretty good. We get along fine. They're all respectable guys. They've never dealt me an issue that never a problem. So, and I've been dealing with them long before I was in Tilton.
And they don't have any problem with this, that type of storage for fireworks?
No, in fact, I have 12 storage units down in Seabrook. And my niece, and I have a store up the street, and I painfully have to truck my product up there, and when gonna sell 1,500 cases that day, my store down there is 30 by 30, it's in a mini mall, which is outlawed now, but it's grandfathered in, and I've never had a problem down there either. And yeah, that's a lot of trucks, that's a lot of pickup trucks, a lot of guys who, don't go in for your $10, call in sick and I'll give you 20, and work 12 hours. And same group of guys, it works. It's amazing to pull it off, but I wish people would make an appointment and say, I'll be there on April 30th, but it hasn't worked out that way.
Okay, where are we?
Well,
Talk to me.
I think, we could probably propose an approval of this with a few conditions, which I've sort of roughed out here. And I'd like to read them and see if they need to be edited at all.
Okay.
So that would be my motion to go ahead and approve the special exception. And the first condition would be that the owner should procure site plan approval, obviously. The second one would be that we would limit, there would be a limit of 4 containers on site at any given time. Number 3 would be all containers shall be removed from the premises after July 31st until February 1st of the following year. And the last one.
Can I talk here? What I'm gonna do now is I need to get a container in after the 4th of July. So I'll order it to get it in right after the 4th. But if the boat doesn't sail on time or the product doesn't make the boat, and I did this last year, I got a container in and it came in on September 12th, which does me no real good. I would like it in right after the 4th of July to restock my shelves. I needed containers out there for 2 days. I just unloaded the 1,000 or so cases into 2 trucks, and they were brought into the building, and it took like, maybe they were there for 3 nights or 2 nights. And that, I think we call that, Tim came up with this, a special exemption. So
I don't think we're looking at that aspect
Yeah,
yet. That's
no,
just
it's-
unloading your stock like a Walmart.
If you're just unloading stock, we're not too concerned, as long as they disappear in a couple of days.
what I would do is to let him know on a personal basis what I'm gonna do. He could notify the state that there's no, you know, I'm not going against what you've granted me. So that's the only thing. I want to get these containers out of there as quick as anybody.
I think as far as we're concerned, we're just looking at whether they're there for storage, period.
Yeah.
As
Or
far
if
as
it's just temporary.
delivery of product, and granted, they could be there for a couple of days, it's not gonna, you know, that's not really
Right.
in violation of what we're proposing here.
There's a guy with a badge in Concord who comes up and says you're in violation. That's what I can. He's bigger than we are.
And condition number 4 is pretty generic. The owner shall ensure maximum security to prevent theft and vandalism.
Okay,
Um,
those are all reasonable. Are you comfortable with those
Yes.
conditions?
So,
We good there? Okay, then,
that's the one I prepared, so, yep. Okay,
everybody comfortable with that?
did you get all that, or?
Yeah. Okay, so we got a motion, looking for a second?
One second.
We have a second? Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, there
Thank
you
you.
go, 4 units.
We'll get you the site plan.
And it's not for us now, this is gonna be for the planning
Oh,
board.
work with Derek.
Okay, work through Derry, yeah, that's right. That'll pretty much.
Thanks, have a good night.
Okay, thanks again, Tim.
Aren't you glad you didn't sell your stock when I said to?
I'm sorry.
I met you a year and a half ago. I said the stock market's too high.
Thank you
Get out.
again, Tim.
You're welcome, have a good night.
You didn't though, did you?
See you guys.
See you
Have a good
soon.
night.
See ya.
Yeah, sounds good.
I met you up to the street in Franklin, and I said, your stock is too high now, get out.
Stop.
You said you were in the stock,
I do
and how
remember.
wonderful it was to get a conversation.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I'm the one that's supposed to have a memory lapse, and I said, oh my God, it's gonna go down and crash and burn. And
That is a nice facility, yeah.
thank you very much.
And it,
No question.
you get lots of visibility, the signage is prominent.
Somebody told me you took
Everybody.
your fireworks sign that you had. Did you take that down or something?
Stop working.
It stopped working.
$55,000. The TV screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, got hoodwinked. We bought in '05, we bought an '02 technology,
Yeah,
which we didn't know.
yeah.
And it just, the panel started going, and of all things, the company who made the sign went out of business, so we couldn't get the parts. It was just terrible. What's over there now saves me
Yeah,
$500 to $600 a month in electric,
that's plenty.
and it does
What
it
you got
better.
now?
Oh, right now, that sign over there is $40 a month.
Yeah.
Just the sign is on a separate unit.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's, you know, when I first met you and came up here, this is personal, but Seabrook is 50% of where they were in '06, revenue.
Yeah.
And then '06 is when they all found me. '07 and '08, I didn't need 4 containers. I had 8, 9, I mean, that was busted. I never foresaw this glut of business, and before it nothing, and after it nothing. I do in from the 26th of June to the 5th of July, in those 10 days, I do about 4 times the business more than I do from May 1st to the 25th of June.
Wow.
People around here, they go, I'll see you on Tuesday. And I'm thinking, get it now. I'm fat, old, I can't talk that much, and I certainly can't walk that much anymore. But they all come at the last minute, it's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad they come.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially.
Yeah, right.
It could be worse.
Yeah, that's right.
But the economy was, in my economy, a lot better. '07 and '08, we never thought we were living them, but those were the good old days.
That's right.
It's nice to meet you all.
Thank you very much.
Say hi to your wife, Joe.
Good to see
Good
you.
luck to you.
Yeah, I'll be in touch. Thank you.
Okay, now down to the business at hand here. We have the minutes of February 17th.
Yeah.
Has everybody read the minutes?
Yes.
Is everybody happy with the minutes?
I have
any changes in the minutes?
No, I didn't have any, I don't think I had any problems with those minutes at all, they were great.
Thanks, Terry.
Yeah, they came out really. Says okay up in the corner, so I guess I was okay with that.
Okay. In that
Nice
case-
job.
Thanks.
In that case, you have a motion to approve?
I would move to approve the minutes of
Okay.
February 17th, 2015, yeah,
And we have a
as
second?
written.
And we have a second, so we're good to go in that regard. Now,
All in favor?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry.
We need to,
This will be in March.
we need to, yeah, rearrange the officers.
Rearrange.
Yeah.
See here.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll switch seats.
Are you ready to jump into this executive committee business, or? No?
Of
Are you
what?
ready to jump into the executive committee?
You smoke.
Really? George?
Don't look at me. They did that to
Oh, I
me when
see,
I
so we're
joined
gonna
the
do
planning
that.
board. The first night on the
No,
planning
no,
board, I
we
became
did
the assistant,
I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah.
And that's happened to me before, too. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, ooh, we got it.
yeah, I became the vice chair of the planning board the first night I was there.
Well, Joe and I are actually prepared to flip-flop again as
Okay.
we've done in the past.
I'll nominate Robert
You know, I've been anticipating this, and just Joe.
This is the
for
last. chairman.
for the year of 2015.
He did have a rough year this last year. He definitely earned his $300, didn't you, Joe?
I want to raise.
I'll second it, before he changes his mind.
Okay,
So I nominate Joe as vice chair.
Sorry, just to keep this, are there any other nominations? Maybe we actually do want to ask for chair.
are there any other?
No.
Okay.
No.
So,
Somewhat
my comments
halfway
are so
formal.
awful, I know.
You can pad in the rest, sorry. Let's,
Okay, yeah, being that there's only one nomination, all in favor of making Mr. Brown the chairman for 2015,
Look at that, hand going.
say aye, raise your
Aye.
hand. Aye, aye, aye,
Do the wave.
aye, aye,
You
aye,
can do the
aye.
way.
Nobody asked me if I would accept it.
We-
Oh,
we
Too
don't-
bad.
Listen to Dory.
You're willing
Too
to
late.
It's
accept.
too late now.
You're it.
You guys. And I would
Speech.
reciprocate, yeah, speech. I'll reciprocate by nominating Mr. Plester as the vice chair
I
for
will
the
accept,
ensuing year.
Second?
and if nominated. I will promise you nothing, and I'll do exactly what you will get.
You give us the same thing as you did last year for Christmas.
For what? For
Nothing.
nothing, yeah, exactly.
Hey, slow tonight.
Oh, my God.
So I guess,
All in favor?
all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone else want the job?
No.
Don't cry, Joe.
We're all in favor.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so we got that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The rest of the year now, Robert will be running the show,
All right.
and I'll
God help.
be cleaning up behind him. So now the
nothing's changed.
next thing we have to deal with is that we need a number of people that need to re-up, if you will, myself being one of them,
Yes.
which I didn't even realize that I was up at this point. I just put one note in. Art, of course, is not going to renew, I know, we know that, he's gonna have his hands full with what he's got. Marina, you have to re-up.
Yeah.
Somehow, I just
She's
think
okay,
that that was just
She's
last year.
okay, yeah.
We
Basically,
knew that.
yeah, I got 4 forms here based on discussion I had with Joyce. Marina, Joe, Arthur, and George all need to re-up,
Okay,
and I think am I understanding correctly that Arthur and George are essentially gonna switch places?
Well, right,
Okay.
George is gonna become a full-time member,
I'm good too.
and, and Art, we know, isn't going to.
Okay.
But now the problem is, there's four of us then are gonna become due at the same time. So
Mm.
it's something we need to change, and I'm willing to change mine, if you will, and just do 1 year.
Okay.
And that would put,
That would put you in, no, I see, I'm
Oh,
good
no,
till
that gives you a way to
2016.
back out, that's not
Nah.
happening.
what?
Are you
That gives you
sure
a way
mine
to
is
back
this
out.
year?
Yeah, how about we make yours 4 years?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
I
wow.
don't think we can.
I thought mine was
No, you can't, the order,
2016,
but
because
they
I
wouldn't,
had to, I didn't come on
This
zoning
is,
and
this
put
has
it on at the
always
same time.
interested me, the way they word this. Term from 2014 to 2016 to be reappointed in 2017. Excuse me, what does that mean?
I think
What does that
it
mean?
is.
Well, you know, and Joyce
It must
filled it
be
out this
through.
time, she typed it out, filled it out this time, term from 2015 to 2018 to be reappointed in 2018,
That's the way it should be.
which seems to make, yeah,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Is
I
yours
would
the
do
end of
next
the
year.
year? For the next year or something?
We're until 2017.
I'm good till
why don't you
2016.
talk to Joyce?
I will, yeah, I mean, she noticed the
Really?
same
Yeah.
thing, she said, we shouldn't have 4 members popping up in the same.
No, I
Right.
didn't think that was this year, I thought it was next year,
Oh, okay.
because I
Okay.
just had to sign up for Parks and Rec, and I didn't think I was on the same, for Parks and Rec and zoning at the same month.
She actually suspected that might be the case with you, so, okay.
Okay, so
That-
that's good.
That sounds like it
That
is
works
then.
great.
All right. I have the 4 forms for you guys, I guess I'll check with
So,
Joyce and then get in touch
so
with
you're
you.
Yeah.
All right, all right.
If it's okay to come down, just email me and I'll come down.
Yeah, okay,
Same here.
all right.
So you're gonna change the terms of these, couple of these guys? to-
Well, potentially, yeah, potentially Marina won't be dealing with this until next year, I
Well-
guess, yeah.
You know, I wish I had the town report, because I was looking at the years.
Yeah, right there.
Oh, you got one? Oh,
Yeah.
because otherwise it's going to,
Take the book.
right now Kathy's the only one comes up in 2016. That would be next year.
Okay,
Okay, so if I changed from the 18
Maybe it is this year, I don't know. I didn't
to
think so.
16, then she and I would come up together, and that would be 2, that would be good. Robert here is in 17, and either George,
Well, that would be 17 based on
that's based
being
on
the
alternate,
alternate
yeah.
last year, so
That's-
that should move me to 18, right?
18.
But
If
how,
I up now, correct?
but how about if we
Right.
move
3
to
years.
That's
17?
3 years, it would be 18.
If we do a 2-year for him,
yeah,
Yeah.
and a 1-year for me,
okay.
that would still keep him at 17.
And keep Marina, signing up again this year?
Yes, let her go to
18.
18.
Okay.
God,
So she'd be the
3
one-
people?
Aren't you lucky?
Yeah, all right.
All
Yeah,
right.
she would be the one lone one out of 5 that would be the sole, just 1 year, 1 a year, and then 2 of us in 16 and 2 of us in 17.
Okay.
Okay, so keep George at 17 and me, make me 16, do 1 year.
So, okay, so George is 17, Joe, you're gonna be 16, Bob is what?
So he's
17.
17, he can stay 17.
Okay.
I want to be 16.
No, I don't wanna be a teenager
Um,
again, learning how to drive and.
So Kathy is what?
I'm 16.
Kathy,
16.
Kathy would be, she's 16 now and she doesn't have to do anything, it would be, she and I would be the,
And,
So-
Didn't have to when I was
16.
16.
and then Marina will be 18.
I don't want to do anything to rattle that cage because a lot will escape. I know you just signed it
So-
in here because of the dental plan, I know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the big pay too.
Yes,
Yes.
the pension.
So Joe talked to you about an overview of a residential or an applicant and the abutters, showing the abutters around
Yeah.
him.
Yeah,
Great.
that's not, I said to him, I don't see, you know, it's a requirement for site plan review and subdivision, I didn't see it as a requirement for a variance application, so, It'll just have to be something I, either add myself or just pass along to the
If
applicant.
it's not too much trouble, it
Yeah.
really does come in handy at times. Tonight would have been beneficial too. To show, that woman that was in her place in relation to his, and, we've always done that in the past too.
Right.
We've always had that overview of.
Well, most
Apparently
of,
she didn't read it, cause she's like, well, I was confused as to which lot it was.
Yeah, I'm
I
not sure,
kinda
I was
caught that,
trying to
and
have
it's
some,
like-
I think she's, puzzled about how the shed that's there, she
Got
says
there.
is very much encroaching on the setback, how that went through without any ZBA action, I said I'd look into it.
Oh, the original shed?
I don't know, she said it was built just recently.
She
like in
said
the last
up
few
on the
years.
new lot that he got, the one
Oh.
he just merged.
Well,
Up
I
near,
mean,
near her house,
it-
that's what she says.
She said there's something else going up right beside hers too, that's why she was confused as to which lot this was pertaining, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's gotta have the address and the name on it, you do.
Yeah,
She just sounded like she was like, oh, but, like she's having a blonde moment. Like she got embarrassed, oh, well, okay, I guess I was thinking it was beside my house, not in front of my house.
So is there something else being constructed next to her house? Is that what she's telling us?
it's already there.
Already
She,
there?
some shed that went in the last few years.
Oh.
And, to me, it seems like if it's in the front setback, it's maybe should have had to get a ZBA action, but I can look into it.
Very good.
I mean, if it's a tiny shed, you can almost understand,
Does it fit just a lawnmower in there? or
right, yeah, I don't
Does it
know.
fit, all of our cars?
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I told her if she wanted to follow up with me, I'd look into it more. But, to your point about, trying to get a butter identification on the plan, we can definitely do that.
That'd be super.
I mean,
Thank you.
the applicants, in the year I've been here, they've been, pretty, you ask them to put something on there.
Well, as much information as we can.
Yeah.
but, so we have a pretty good picture of what's going on.
Yeah,
Try to put
and keep
this-
in mind, a lot of times, we have what we're asking for if they've gone to site plan. There would be one of those there,
Right.
okay, for that site plan.
right, yeah, exactly, yeah, good point, yeah.
So you wouldn't have to duplicate that.
Mhm.
Yeah. We don't want to add to your workload. I know you're
Well,
pretty swamped, but.
It is, it was a busy place, but luckily I got more time now, so see if we can work that in.
You can imagine,
While it lasts, right?
you can imagine then what it was like when Sandy and I were in there and
Oh.
exit 20 was exploding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, 'cause
84,
right now we've
84
got,
into the 90s, these guys were
Yep.
buried.
yeah, we got Taco Bell and that Kia dealer at
We all
next
were.
week's meeting, and it's, just so much more paper and so much more phone calls and this and that,
Yeah.
and getting a call from this engineer.
Yeah,
And I can just imagine when that
That was
was all
brutal.
coming in.
and meetings down here, planning board, it didn't matter what board you were on, almost midnight every time.
Yeah,
It's just,
yeah. Yeah,
a lot of special meetings, we didn't, we couldn't just go monthly, we had to do sometimes bi-weekly and,
right,
just to get it all in.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Speaking of that, what's going on with Shaw's? Somebody said.
Michael's?
Rumor of Michael's?
I heard Michael's, yeah.
Oh,
So,
wow, a lot of people like Michael.
Yeah.
No, I say no.
No, I'm serious, a lot of people do like
Christmas tree
Michael.
shop,
Yeah, there you go.
Kmart,
What do you
Christmas
want?
tree shop is,
Kmart.
sure.
You got blue light special?
Yeah, my mother used to send all of us kids to all of those.
yeah, Michael's would be, Christmas tree shop, that's very popular. A lot of people go all the way to Nashua, is it?
Yeah.
Is it that?
I'd
Salem? God.
like to see someplace of
North Conway?
entertainment, a bowling alley and stuff like that.
Oh, I
We
like
have
that, and a
nothing
skating
around.
rink?
If you want to, just something for the young people
Dory,
to
have you
get
heard
involved with.
anything
and
about
even
Yeah.
the
the
adults to
survey
get
that they
involved
were
with.
taking in Sangerton about
It's just-
going commercial?
That's a
up
great
there?
idea,
Yeah,
bowling
Creating a
alley.
commercial
Do that, what the
district?
kids gotta do
I
around
saw
there?
something in the
don't.
paper a
Nothing.
while back
No.
about that.
Absolutely
That the
nothing.
planning board was
And-
considering
Yeah,
surveying the town to see how
Before we
many,
moved up
see
here,
if the
anywhere we
residents were
lived, there was
agreeable to
always things
creating a
around for the
commercial
kids
zone.
to get involved with, whether it be bowling
And,
alleys or Pool rooms, figured.
I don't know, I haven't heard another
Not
thing
the
since.
dens
I
of
just
iniquity
wondered if
of,
you-
Right,
of
right.
yesteryear, but then
No,
it
it goes to show what I know.
Cause it's a, 'cause, you know, it's literally a
Just,
bedroom community, you know.
Yeah,
entertains
right,
us,
Right.
yeah.
soda
Back to
shops,
basics.
And the
soda
flashlights
shops
are-
and stuff, you know,
Yeah.
they go in there and
Reflective of,
rock
yeah.
hops
I'm
and.
sure they would like, but you know, along with it comes
Yeah,
They
good
the
had
added expense
old-fashioned.
of
Yeah,
fire,
buy
fine.
drugs
Yeah.
and stuff.
police.
I used to love going to the roller skating rink
Yeah, I don't
in West
see where it
Franklin.
really balances out that
Hardwood
much.
floor one.
Yep.
You know,
well, I
the
grew up
original
were one of those.
Selectmen
Yeah,
that
it was
started
so
pushing
much
in
fun, all the high
'84.
school
Do the
kids,
hokey
They
every
were developed
weekend.
down here.
Oh no, it was
They thought
disco.
it was gonna bring in all kinds of.
Disco.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
go back to the hotel.
Are we,
Yeah,
we're adjourned, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can just cut off the